안녕하세요, 터미입니다. I am so excited to teach you this beautiful language, Korean. Today will be the 11th class. How are you doing so far? Are you able to read Korean a little bit now? After taking my classes, you will be able to become fluent in Korean and someday eventually pass the official topic 1, level 1 and 2. So no worries about your Korean studies. Trust me, Tommy will lead your way. Today's topic is 남자친구 있습니까? Do you have a boyfriend? It's interesting question, right? By the way, I have a husband, if you want to know about me. Anyway, today we will learn the grammar. 있습니다, the polite form of present sentence ending. And 하고, which means do A and B. Once you master these, you can make basic Korean sentences in polite forms. You can also connect two actions together, like I do A and do B. Let me explain the flow of today's lesson. First, we will listen to a conversation with English subtitles. Next, I will explain the vocabulary and grammar. And then we will listen to the conversation without the subtitles and practice reading it aloud. Last but not least, I will give you your favorite assignments. By the end of this video, you will be able to improve your Korean skills a lot, so please watch it till the end. 그럼 시작할게요. Oh! The title of today's conversation is 남자친구 있습니까? Do you have a boyfriend? Let's listen to the conversation with English subtitles. Here you go!
토미 씨, 남자친구 있습니까? 아니요, 저는 남자친구 없습니다. 그럼 휴일에는 보통 뭐 합니까? 저는 요리하고 도서관에 갑니다. 도서관까지 혼자 걸어갑니까? 아니요, 버스 타고 갑니다.
Okay, now let's take a look at the vocabularies and phrases in the conversation.
토미 씨, 남자친구 있습니까?
You can hear the word 남자친구, 여자친구 frequently in Korean dramas or K-pop. The word 남자 means boy or man, and 친구 means friend. So when you put them together, it becomes boyfriend. Similarly, in the word 여자친구, 여자 means girl or woman, and 친구 means friend. So together, it becomes girlfriend. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? 남자, 여자, men and women are used in many other words as well. The most standard example is 남자 화장실, 여자 화장실, which means men's toilet and women's toilet. The phrase 있습니까 is developed from the basic verb 있다, which means there is. Please learn this phrase in combination with 없다, which means there is no.
그럼 휴일에는 보통 뭐 합니까?
그럼 is a shortened version of 그러면, which means then. Korean people often use this word in conversation. 휴일 means holiday. 에는 is made up of two particles. Here, 에 and 는 are combined together. 에 is on and 는 means something is. We call it the topic marker. But when these two are combined together, 에는 means on. The word 보통 means ordinary or normal. If you want to say, this person is not an ordinary person, you say, 이 사람은 보통 사람이 아닙니다. If somebody says this, I will probably be more curious about that person. Don't you think so? Not ordinary? What kind of person is he? In opposite, when you want to be humble and say, I am an ordinary person, you say, 저는 보통 사람입니다. Got it?
저는 요리하고 도서관에 갑니다.
요리 means cuisine, and when you add 하다, which means do, together it becomes 요리하다, to cook. In Korean, there are many verbs that have 하다 at the end. For example, 운동하다 is to exercise. 결혼하다 means to get married. 도서관 is library. I will give you a list of some similar words that describe big halls. 박물관 is museum. 기념관 is memorial hall. And 미술관 is art museum. You might have noticed the word 관. It is repeated in all words because 관 indicates a big hall. 에 is a particle that means on or to, depending on the situation. If it comes after a place, like in this conversation, it means going to the place. 갑니다 is a verb. It's developed from the basic form 가다, which means to go.
도서관까지 혼자 걸어갑니까?
까지 is until or to. It is good to remember this grammar together with the phrase 에서, which means from. For example, 서울에서 부산까지 means from Seoul to Busan. 혼자 means alone. When you say 나 혼자 삽니다, it means I am living alone. 걸어가다 means to walk. This word is a combination of two verbs. 걷다, which means to walk, and 가다, which means to go. So together the phrase means to walk. There is also a verb such as 뛰어가다, which means to run. This is also made up of two words. 뛰다, to run, and 가다, to go. And together it means to run.
아니요, 버스 타고 갑니다.
버스 is bus, and 타다 is to ride. In English, you need to add the particle on in a sentence like I ride on a bus, right? But in Korean, people often omit a particle in conversation. For example, 버스 타고 갑니다. I take the bus. As you can see, I omitted 를, but it sounds very natural in conversation. Now, let's take a look at the grammar. Before I teach the grammar of the day, there is one grammatical term that we have to go over. That is the verb stem. The concept is pretty easy. The dictionary form of Korean verbs and adjectives always end with da at the end. If it does not end with da, the language you're learning is probably not Korean. For example, 가다, to go, 배우다, to learn, and 운동하다, to exercise, all have 다 at the end, right? If you remove 다, the remaining is called the verb stem. Therefore, the verb stem of 가다 is 가, 배우다 is 배우, and 운동하다 is 운동하. The concept of the verb stem will come up frequently when you study Korean in the future. So this is the core of course, basic of basics. Crystal clear? Let's move on. So today we are going to learn 비읍니다, 씁니다. This is a present tense sentence and a very polite expression. By the way, a present tense means that the sentence is happening now. In English, it is like I watch a movie. Later on, we will learn past and future tenses as well. Okay, let's go back to our today's grammar. The original dictionary forms of verbs and adjectives that appear in the conversation are 있다, there is, 없다, there is not, 가다, to go, 걸어가다, to walk, and 타다, to ride. Here, you use 씁니다 for verbs and adjectives that have final consonants in their verb stems. For verbs and adjectives without final consonants, in verb stem, you use 비읍니다. For example, the verb stem of 있다 is it. It has a final consonant, so you add 씁니다. Together, you read 있습니다. In the same way, 없다, there is no, becomes 없습니다. 맛있다, delicious, becomes 맛있습니다. 웃다, to laugh, becomes 웃습니다. On the other hand, the verb stem of 하다 is 하. 하 doesn't have a final consonant, so you add 비읍니다. Together, it becomes 합니다. In the same principle, 가다, to go, becomes 갑니다. 걸어가다, to walk, becomes 걸어갑니다. And 타다, to ride, becomes 탑니다. Attention please! Here is one thing you have to be careful of. There is one exception to this rule. If the final consonant is real, you have to remove real. Goodbye real! And add 비읍니다 at the end. For example, for 알다, which means to know, you say goodbye to real and add 비읍니다 at the end. It becomes 압니다. Also, in the same way, if you see 만들다, to make, you remove real and add 비읍니다. It becomes 만듭니다. In the same way, 놀다 becomes 놉니다. Great! Now you have learned how to make basic sentences using 씁니다 today. Yay! Now, let's challenge ourselves with some quiz. My favorite word, 사랑하다, means to love. Then how do you say to love in a polite phrase using 비읍니다, 씁니다? Please choose the right answer. Number 1, 사랑합니다. Number 2, 사랑하십니다. The answer is number 1. The verb stem of 사랑하다 is 사랑하, right? Here, 하 does not have a final consonant. So you add 비읍니다 to make 사랑합니다. 사랑합니다. Let's move on to the next quiz. 먹다 means to eat. Then how do you say to eat in a polite phrase using 비읍니다, 씁니다? Please choose the right answer. Number 1, 먹습니다. Number 2, 멉니다. The answer is number 1. Since 먹다's verb stem is 먹, 먹 has a final consonant. So you add 씁니다 to say 먹습니다. Great! I will give you a little bit of challenging question. 달다 means sweet. Then how do you say it's sweet using 비읍니다, 씁니다? Number 1, 달습니다. Number 2, 답니다. The answer is number 2. 달다's verb stem is 달. Since 달 has real final consonant, so you have to say goodbye to real and add 비읍니다. So it becomes 답니다. Did you get the right answer? I hope you did. Next, let's learn how to use 고 to connect two or more actions. This is very simple grammar, so you'll be able to learn fast. It doesn't matter if the word has a final consonant or not. You just need to add 고 instead of 다 at the end of verbs or adjectives. There is also no exception to watch out, unlike the previous 비읍니다, 씁니다, where you need to be careful of real. So this one is very straightforward and easy. Let's read the phrases that were in the conversation again. 저는 요리하고 도서관에 갑니다. I cook and go to the library. 버스 타고 갑니다. I take the bus. The interesting thing about the expression 고 is that you can connect as many verbs as you want. Please take a look at this example. It says 먹고, 마시고, 놀고. It means eat, drink, and play. This is the phrase that you might find on a party poster. You can arrange as many verbs and adjectives using 고 in this way. Okay, now let's challenge ourselves with a quick quiz. Try to connect these 3 words using 고. Please choose the right answer. 웃다, to laugh. 화내다, to get angry. 울다, to cry. Number 1. 웃고, 화내고, 울고. Number 2. 웃다고, 화내다고, 울다고. The answer is number 1. You just need to change the 다 at the end of each word to 고 so that it becomes 웃고, 화내고, 울고, which means to laugh, get angry, and cry. In Korean dramas, there is a lot of laughing, anger, and crying, right? Number 2 is wrong because you didn't get rid of 다.
Oh!
Since we've gone through the explanation, let's listen to the conversation without English subtitles. You should be able to understand it much better than before.
토미 씨, 남자친구 있습니까? 아니요, 저는 남자친구 없습니다. 그럼 휴일에는 보통 뭐 합니까? 저는 요리하고 도서관에 갑니다. 도서관까지 혼자 걸어갑니까? 아니요, 버스 타고 갑니다.
Oh!
Since you've understood the conversation, let's read the conversation aloud. This is the time you can apply what you have learned as an output, so try reading out loud with confidence.
토미 씨, 남자친구 있습니까? 아니요, 저는 남자친구 없습니다. 그럼 휴일에는 보통 뭐 합니까? 저는 요리하고 도서관에 갑니다. 도서관까지 혼자 걸어갑니까? 아니요, 버스 타고 갑니다.
Oh!
This is your favorite time! I have 2 special assignments for you! The first homework is writing. Please tell me your today's schedule by connecting 3 verbs. I will make like this. 저는 아침에 요가하고 밥 먹고 회사에 갑니다. Which means I do yoga in the morning and eat fries and go to a company. The second homework is memorizing the vocabulary. Please memorize the vocabularies from number 81 결과 to number 120 quote on the second page of my beginner level vocabulary. I have created a 40-word quiz on my website, so challenge yourself after memorizing your vocabularies. If you have completed all your homework or have got a full score on the vocabulary quiz, please share it in the comment section with me. I look forward to reading your comments. That's all for today! You are the best student ever! Once you master Korean, you will have a bright future ahead of you. So let's try our best! 그럼 오늘도